We're talking about the Second Great Depression, or Donald Trump comes in and saves the day. Let me explain. You see, the United States of America is $36 trillion in debt. And in this debt, we pay more money in interest on the debt than we do on the principal this coming year. For example, let's say that you owe $500 on a car and you give the $500. You're done, right? No, because when you give the $500 towards the $500 that you owe on the car, 300 of it goes to the car and 200 of it goes towards the interest. The government is going to pay more money in interest than they are to the actual principal on their debt this coming year. That means that they're not going to pay down any of this debt. So the $36 trillion is just going to keep on going up further. Unless they just print more money or add more money to numbers on a screen, which that is what they always do. But the problem is, if they print more money, that means that there's more money to go around. And because there's more of something, it doesn't have as much value as it once did. That doesn't mean that we all have to go to the bank with our money and then they turn like the 50 to a 40 and they turn the 1 to 50 cents. No, that would be crazy. We can't do that. But the way that they do it is by something called inflation. So now, because our money's not worth as much as it once was, things cost more money. So maybe before you can get bread for $3. Well, now because the dollar isn't worth as much, you have to give 6 of them for the bread. Now, that's just me talking about bread. I'm not talking about cars, and I'm not talking about houses, because those are assets that would also continue to go up. Because, again, it's simple math. If a house costs $300,000, but now those dollars are not worth as much as they once were, now it's $600,000 for the house. And if you either don't have a job or you're not getting a raise to keep up with inflation, that means that you're just going to continue to fall behind more and more and more. There's this guy on YouTube called Real Tax Value, and he talks about the great melt up, because basically any type of asset or anything that at all that you would need, the price that it costs now, it's going to cost more because the dollar's not worth as much as it once was. Now, if you have an asset of some sort, this is a good thing for you, because your asset is just going to keep on climbing because you already have the asset. But if you just have money, that money is not going to grow in value right now. It's going to shrink. In this example, it means that all the rich people that have a ton of property and a ton of businesses and a ton of homes and a ton of whatever, all of the things that they own, they're going to be worth more. Now, this is what should happen based upon the amount of debt the United States is in, and so many people are also in. So many people are in more debt than ever before. This is why cryptocurrency is going up. This is why gold and silver is going up. This is why the S&P 500 is going up, because all of the assets are gaining more value. Now, most people do not invest in those things. Most people don't invest at all. Millions of people have no idea how this stuff works. They're just trying to go day to day, pay their bills, and try to live their life. This would mean that there would be millions of people that would be in disaster because they just wouldn't keep up with this. And I just don't believe that that would happen under Donald Trump's administration. There has been way too many prophecies about Donald Trump being a restorer of America, making America great again, bringing us out of disaster, bringing us out of the bondage in Egypt, as that parallel Bible type of parallel goes. The Lord has given me prophecies about the United States leaving Egypt and how we're going to get across the Red Sea. The righteous get across the Red Sea, but the waves drop on the enemy. He has also given me prophecies about the fall of Saul, rise of David, Saul being the first king of Israel, that he lost the kingdom, and David being the second king king of Israel, and he gained the kingdom. So everyone that was in Saul's kingdom fell, and everyone that was in David's kingdom rose. Once again, representing the wicked falling and the righteous rising. Now, this is the story that I really want to highlight in the Bible that I think is very parallel that could happen today. There's a story in 2 Kings 7 where the state of Israel is very, very bad. They're in deep, deep famine. Everything costs a ton of money. Prices are through the roof. People are dying. They're eating themselves. It's like really bad. There is a couple men that are sitting there at the city gate. They have leprosy and they're like pondering what they should do. And they say, you know what? Instead of us just dying here, we might as well hand ourselves over to the Arameans, who were a different nation that were a little more prosperous than Israel at the time. And these guys figure, well, we might as well just like go to them and be slaves. And they'll at least feed us than us die here on this wall. So they go over to find the Arameans' camp, and it says that on their way over, God caused the sound of chariots to be in the trees, and the Arameans thought that someone was coming to get them, and they left immediately, and they left all of their gold, their silver, everything that they owned, they left it there in the camp. So these guys with leprosy walk into the camp and they just see a massive amount of treasure right in front of them. Can you imagine that? Going from, I'm going to die any moment, I might as well become a slave, to now I walk into a huge pile of treasure. Now, there's other cool parts of this story, like the prophet Elisha told one of the king's officers that by this time tomorrow, the economy is basically going to flip upside down and then everything's going to be affordable again and we're going to come out of famine. And the officer was like, not even if the windows of heaven opened up, could this be possible? Elisha told him that it was going to happen and that he was going to get trampled because the people were going to hear that the economy flipped upside down and then they were going to all rush, the city gates to try to eat food because they're all dying, and this guy gets trampled. Well, sure enough, this is exactly what happened. The men that went into the Aramean camp took all of the plunder, went back to the king of Israel at the time and was like, yo, there's all this plunder over here. Like, let's go get it. The Arameans left. So they brought all of this treasure into the Israelite economy. And sure enough, like food that would maybe cost $1,000 today, all of a sudden cost $2 overnight because there was just this drastic, radical flip of the economy because they had just brought all this wealth into it. The idea behind Donald Trump kind of having this parallel is, number one, he's already signed on Elon Musk to have the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, which basically he's going to try to run the government more efficiently, and that is trying to save money, which means that a lot of the three-letter agencies, because we have like hundreds or 1,000 of them or something, they could all be gone overnight, and then all of a sudden the government frees up a ton of funds to pay off debt, and things start to go in the right direction. The other part of this, you can go back to 2020 where you see executive orders, and when there's, interference in the ELECTIONs, they could actually freeze assets of enemies and they could take assets. And I could see something where like Donald Trump bankrupts all these criminal enterprises, takes the money and gives it to the American people, floods our economy, and then all of a sudden there's this radical shift overnight. It could basically look like everyone getting, how we got those stimulus checks? We could all get like a settlement check from criminal enterprises to be able to live our lives here. I mean, it would be obviously insane, and it's like it would only be a God thing. It would be a miracle, but these stories happen in the Bible, and this is where I believe that this is a season we're in. There's the other theories about like the United States being a corporation and us getting rid of the United States as a corporation and us going back to the original republic, which everything would go back on the gold standard. And we wouldn't have to worry about like all this debt from this corporation because we would just bankrupt it. Donald Trump's got history of bankruptcies, so maybe he knows what he's doing there on that angle. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities here, but I just don't believe that we're going to go into a period of time where millions and millions and millions of Americans are going to go into a Great Depression and have like the worst 4 years of their life while Donald Trump is president, because it's just not, it doesn't line up with all the prophetic words surrounding Donald Trump. The other prophecies and stories of the Bible the Lord's highlighted to me in this season is Daniel in the lion's den, which means that it literally looks like we're about to get eaten by lions, and then it all flips, and the enemies that put us into the lion's den get eaten by lions. Another one is Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego in the fire. They go into the fire, they don't get burnt up, but the ones that put them in the fire got burnt up. Then we also see this guy named Haman. He set up a gallows for Mordecai to hang from, and everything flips, and then Haman actually gets hung from his own gallows. So there's this moment that we get to where it looks like all is lost before all is won, ultimate pain before ultimate gain, but it happens, and I'm sticking to it, and I'm walking in faith, and I'm believing, and regardless, God looks out for his people. So do what you think that you need to do in this season. Get right with the Lord. Ask the Lord for guidance. Consult with him, and he will tell you what to do. Hope this video has been helpful to you. God bless you and have a good day.